Your favorite food does not taste like much anymore. The days run together, and the talk, when you talk at all, stays right on the surface. So you keep to your house, where it is peaceful, and then you sit there asking yourself why nothing feels sweet the way it used to. Let me say this first. You are not broken, and you are not ungrateful. The old people I learned from saw this in their own relatives, and they did not say, think positive, and they did not say, cheer up. They said the spirit comes first, and the body follows it, and you do not feed a spirit by waiting to feel something. You feed it with your hands, you make one beautiful thing, you look at one beautiful real thing, and joy comes back the way a shy animal comes back because you set something out for it. So, today, no big changes, just the small things the old ones did to invite the sweetness home. Pull your chair a little closer to the window where the light is. There is nowhere either of us has to be for a while, and this is the kind of talk that likes to go slow. Let me say plainly who I am before I go any further. I am a character, an elder brought to life with the help of AI, and what I bring you is a retelling. I am not an elder of the Diné nation. I do not speak for them, and I would never claim their authority as my own. What I can carry to you is the shape of a teaching that reached me and stayed, offered carefully from the outside with respect for the ones who held it first. And I will tell you now that the Diné are not one single voice on this. Families tell it their own way. Regions tell it their own way. What I said in front of you tonight is one telling among many, not the correct one. The prayers and the ceremonies that belong to this way of seeing are not mine to open, and I will not open them. I can only offer the everyday part, the part any of us can live by. Now let me start where I think you need me to start, which is not with the teaching. It is with you. When your coffee tastes like nothing, and the meal you used to look forward to all week is just something on a plate now, you have probably decided that the trouble is in you, that you have gone dull, that you have turned into an ungrateful person who cannot enjoy a good life when she has one. I want to take that off you right now. What has gone quiet in you is not your character, and it is not your tongue. It is your spirit, and your spirit has been going hungry. A hungry spirit cannot taste anything. You can set the sweetest thing in the world in front of it, and it will not reach for it. And that is not a flaw in you. That is just what hunger of that kind does. And the pulling back, the staying home, the way other people have started to seem a little fake to you, all surface and no realness. Do not add that to the list of things you blame yourself for. When a person feels flat inside, the loud world outside starts to feel false, and stepping back from it is not you being cold, it is you protecting the little you have left. There is nothing wrong with the woman who does that. She is not pulling away because she stopped loving people. She is resting because she is worn down to the thread. And I want to say a plain word about the sadness itself, because somebody somewhere told you to push it away. You do not have to push it away. It is allowed to be here. The old ones I learned from did not treat a low season as a thing to be ashamed of or hurried past. They treated it as weather, real weather, that a person moves through. You are not required to feel fine tonight. You are only invited, when you are ready, to set one small thing out and see what comes near it. So let me tell you the way the ones who taught me understood this, because it turns the whole thing around. They did not tend the body first and the spirit second. They said it the other way. The spirit comes first and the body follows it. Tend to what has gone quiet inside a person, and slowly the appetite comes back, the color comes back, the wish to get up in the morning comes back. And here is the part I most want you to hear. And I will say plainly that this reached me from the outside, and that every family holds it a little differently. They did not sit and wait to feel joy before they lived. They did not think their way back to sweetness. They did one beautiful thing on purpose before the feeling was there, and they let the feeling catch up. That is a very different idea than the one most of us were handed. Most of us were taught to wait until we feel like it. The old ones I learned from turned that around. You do the small beautiful thing first, with the feeling nowhere in sight, and the feeling comes to the work. I know how backward that sounds to a tired person. It sounds like being told to dance before the music has started. But that is exactly the old wisdom in it. The music was never going to start on its own. Somebody has to hum the first note, and in your life that somebody is you, and the first note is small, and you are allowed to hum it badly. So here is the first and biggest of the small things, and it is the heart of everything I want to leave with you. Make one beautiful thing with your hands. I do not mean anything grand. I am not telling you to become an artist in your last years. I mean something small enough that you could start it this afternoon. A woman I heard of, when the flatness sat on her, went back to weaving, just a narrow band, a few colors she loved, worked a little each day. Another one cooked an old dish, the long, slow way her mother made it, the one that fills the whole house with a smell you cannot be numb to. It can be mending a coat that is worth mending, so your hands remember they can make a torn thing whole again. It can be putting one seed in one pot of dirt on the windowsill and giving it water. It can be humming an old song under your breath while you do the dishes, which is a thing your hands and your breath make together. And notice that I keep saying beautiful, not useful. The point is not to get a chore done. You have done a lifetime of useful things, and the useful things did not bring the sweetness back, or you would not be sitting where you are sitting now. Beautiful is a different order of thing. Beautiful is the band of color you did not have to make, the dish nobody asked you for, the song that feeds nothing but the ear. When your hands make a thing for no reason except that it is good to have in the world, you are telling your own spirit that there is still a reason to make beautiful things, and the spirit hears that far better than any words you could say to it. Now here is why the old ones trusted the hands more than the head. When you are low, your mind is a poor place to start, because your mind will argue. Tell your mind to feel better, and it will hand you back a list of reasons you cannot. But the hands do not argue. The hands just begin. And the strange, reliable thing, the thing those old people watched happen in their own kitchens and among their own relatives, is that busy hands lead the spirit back before the mind has finished making its case. You thread the first color, you stir the pot, you press the seed down into the soil, and somewhere in there, without any decision on your part, a small live thread of interest wakes up in you. Not joy yet, just interest. And interest is the doorway that joy comes through. You're not making a blanket or a meal, you're setting a little something out so the sweetness has a reason to come near. And the second small thing sits right next to the first. Each day, look at one beautiful, real thing. And I want to be careful about that word real, because I do not mean think positive, and I do not mean tell yourself the day is lovely when it is not. I mean something true, something outside of you, something you did not have to talk yourself into. The light coming across a stone wall in the late afternoon, that certain gold it goes. A bird working at something in the yard, all business, paying you no mind. The face of a person you love, really looked at, the way you have not let yourself look in a while. A dog stretched out in a patch of sun. The old ones would tell you to let your eye rest on one such thing a day and take it fully in, not glance and move on. Because the eye feeds the spirit the same way the hands do. A hungry spirit is fed a little every time the eye takes in something true and beautiful. You do not have to feel anything about it. You just have to look, all the way, at one real thing. A fed eye means a less hungry spirit, and a less hungry spirit is one that will, on one of these ordinary days, taste the coffee again. Now let me come back to the pulling away, because I do not want to leave it where I left it. You have kept to your house, and the talk out there has felt thin. Everybody reading their lines, nothing said that means much. I am not going to stand here and tell you to get out and be social. That is the advice everyone gives, and it lands like a scolding, and it is not what the old ones would have said anyway. They would have offered you something much smaller and much truer, not 10 conversations. 1. One real exchange with one person where something actually passes between you is worth more than a whole week of the thin kind, and it will do more for the hunger in you than any crowd. So do not measure it by how many people you saw. Measure it by whether one true word passed between you and another soul. And I will offer you one more thought, gently, and you can take it or leave it. That fakeness you have been feeling in other people, some of it may be real, the world does chatter. But some of it may be your own hunger for what is real, grown so sharp that the surface talk that never used to bother you now sets your teeth on edge. That is not a sign that you have soured on people. It is a sign of how badly you are wanting something true. And wanting something true is the most alive thing about you right now. It has not gone anywhere. Now, one thing more, and I want to say it plainly, because it matters. If this flatness is heavy, and if it stays with you a long while, no matter what small beautiful things you set out, then telling someone you trust or someone trained to listen is a good and honorable thing to do. There is no shame anywhere in it, none. An old man talking to you by a window is not a substitute for that, and I would never pretend to be. In the way I was taught to understand it, a person who is struggling was never meant to carry it alone and in silence. Letting someone sit with you in it was always the strong thing. It still is. So let me leave you with the shape of it. The sweetness you are missing is not something you will find again by looking harder for it, and it is not something that will come back if you only manage to feel grateful enough. Late joy does not work that way. Late joy is something you do. One small beautiful thing made with your hands, one real thing taken in with your eyes, one true word passed to one person. You do the small thing first, today, before you feel a single bit like it, and you set it out the way you would set something out on the step for a shy animal that has been keeping its distance. You do not chase it, you do not coax it. You just leave something out, and you go on about your evening, and one of these days you look up, and it has come close again. And I will say once more, because it is only fair, that all of this came to you as a retelling, and nothing more. I do not claim to be an elder of the Dene nation. The ones who carry this way of seeing hold it in their own ways, each a little different from one family to the next and one place to the next, and the deepest parts of it are theirs and stay with them. So here is what I would have you do tonight. Make or look at or say one small, true thing. Just one. Do not try to feel better about your whole life this evening. Set one beautiful thing out and see if the sweetness does not step a little closer by the end of the week. Thank you for sitting with me a while. May your hands find one good thing to make tomorrow. May your eye land on something true and rest there. And may the sweetness you have been missing find its way back to your door, not because you chased it, but because you quietly left the light on for it. Until we talk next time, walk in